Good morning to each and every one of you. Muy buenos dias. Today, we are coming together to celebrate the two historic figures in the fight for LGBTQIA plus rights and to officially name this intersection at 2nd and Main Streets, Cooper Donuts, Nancy Valverde Square. Now, we are incredibly privileged to have with us LA's very own hero, Nancy Valverde, who will be represented here today by her sister, who will be speaking in just a few moments. We also have family members of LA's beloved Cooper Donuts, especially Keith Evans, who we'll hear from shortly. But let me start off by saying that we owe a tremendous amount of gratitude for the courageous and unrelenting work of our downtown LGBTQIA plus community that has stood strong for more than 6 decades. I want to thank the Downtown LA Neighborhood Council, the LGBTQI plus community in DTLA, and in particular Tony Hoover. Tony Hoover for fighting to tell us Nancy Valverde's story. And as was witnessed just last week or a week and a half ago, we had that opportunity in our very own city council chambers, where I had a lot of other council members come up to me afterwards and talk to me about Nancy Valverde because they did not know that history. Now, it's impossible to overlook the fact that this year we've seen lawmakers across the nation act out of bigotry to violate the rights of trans people and LGBTQI plus more broadly. From June 2022 to May of this year, there were over 350 anti-LGBTQI incidents, ranging from armed protesters outside drag shows to threats against hospitals that provide gender transition care. We've seen fear stoked right here in our own backyard in Los Angeles, from Satacoy Elementary School over in the San Fernando Valley to the city of Glendale right next to us, to the OC, the Orange County Board of Supervisors ban on flying the pride flag. This fear dredges up misconceptions and utter falsehoods about the queer community. This fear, in my opinion, is rooted in the fear of the unknown. For too many Americans, and even too many Angelenos, LGBTQI plus people, particularly our trans brothers and sisters, can seem somewhat quote-unquote alien to them. But let me be clear, and let me underscore and highlight the following. This is not because the LGBTQIA plus community are new to society. Gay people, lesbian people, trans people, gender non-conforming people, intersex people, queer people have been around for as long as cisgender and heterosexual people. And those are the facts. However, we in mainstream society here for much too long have refused to acknowledge and affirm the existence and contributions of the full breadth of the LGBTQIA plus community. Here in LA, less than 1% of our historic cultural monuments recognize queer history. This would suggest that LGBTQI plus people have not been part of our city's history. But what the story of Nancy Valverde and the story of Cooper Donuts tell us is that this is far, very far from the truth. From Hollywood to City Hall, from our ports to our hospitals, the contributions of our queer community have been critical to creating the LA as we know it today. Nancy Valverde's resistance to the LA City Ordinance 5200 and Cooper Donuts' insistence on being welcoming to all people, regardless of gender presentation, help carve out spaces of belonging in a city and county whose government was openly hostile to the queer community. I'm grateful today that our city looks very different from the LA of the 1950s. It's impossible to overlook the irony, or better yet, still the historic correction that this intersection is here outside LAPD headquarters, a source of discrimination against the queer community for decades back in the day. Thankfully, our LAPD is vastly different, welcoming diversity that makes up our city of LA. The work to make LA a more inclusive place isn't finished, it's ongoing. And today we all play an important role in making LA welcoming to all Angelinos by recognizing the contributions of individuals who brought change to our city through acts of courage. Today we uplift collectively the stories of Nancy Valverde and Cooper Donuts as examples of the best of what LA can be and what each of us can be when we come together as a city. I also very quickly want to thank the Department of Transportation, because the Department of Transportation in record speed put up the signs that we will unveil here today. And on behalf of the grateful city of LA, I want to thank you, Nancy, through your sister, Lupe. I want to thank Keith. I want to thank Tony for telling the story. I want to thank everybody who played a part in uplifting the story of Nancy Valverde. So officially, the city of LA recognizes Nancy Valverde, the contributions of Cooper Donuts of providing sanctuary and inclusivity, not exclusivity. And today, when we unveil the signage today for us coming together and establishing this historic monument that will be for all of us for generations to come. Thank you very much, everybody. Gracias a todos. Now, it is my pleasure to bring up the man who spearheaded this, who drove this, who enlightened me, and through that enlightened the city council as a whole and the entire city of Los Angeles. Let's bring up our very own Tony Hooper. Tony Hooper, come on out.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for coming out on this June gloomy Thursday morning. First of all, I'd just like to say that this project started a little over 2 years ago as a research project. I'm gay, and I knew that downtown was really kind of this early history of our community, and there was no placemaking. I grew up in Chicago, where we honor history all the time, especially with the LGBTQ community. And I was kind of taken aback that we didn't have anything really here, physically anyway, to remind us of where the history came from. So of course I heard about Cooper Donuts, and I thought, well, why do we not know about this place in downtown? Why have we not placemaked for Cooper Donuts? And as I researched the project, I started to realize there were controversies in that story. And the story that has been told for many years may not be the actual full story. In fact, some of it may be inaccurate, and a lot of it was left out. So as we continued moving along in the project and researching, I discovered a lot of things about Cooper Donuts through the Evans family and through other people I talked to. And then I fell upon Nancy Valverde. And the one thing also that we don't have in this city, we haven't really recognized specific individual heroes of the movement, and officially, said that they're important to our history, especially in Los Angeles. And so Nancy, I found Nancy, and I was able to have some conversations with her. I read a lot of the source material about her life and her history. I saw the documentaries. And after speaking to her, I realized there was a much bigger story here connected also to Cooper Donuts and her involvement in the early history of downtown, being a barber, going to barber school here on Main Street, and being a customer of Cooper Donuts along with her friends. And in addition to all of that, I found out that, of course, she had been severely abused by the Los Angeles Police Department, which is the bigger part of the story here. And, the greatest successes in our civil rights in this country come in your personal self-defense. Very rarely do we actually move things through demonstration. It almost always happens in the courts. And Nancy was smart enough to figure that out at a very, very early time. And in providing for her own defense, she was able to basically kickstart the defense of a lot of other basically allow other people to have the bravery to also have their own defense as well. So I can't give you a whole story here. There's two phases to this project. The first part is to recognize that this happened, which is what we're doing today. And the next phase is to continue doing the research and actually put the fuller story together. And that's what I'm going to be doing for as long as I can, as long as Nancy's still alive, as long as the people surrounding her are still around us, and as long as we can get access to city records that can help us support, what actually did happen here in full. So I want you to understand that today this isn't the end, this is the beginning of actually putting a bigger story together. I wanted to thank you all for coming. I wanted to thank you all for supporting the LGBTQ community and our history here in the city. This is the very first recognized LGBTQ landmark in downtown. And also I wanted to mention Christopher Antonelli and Sean Smith here are working on placemaking in downtown. We're going to create a LGBTQ district, and I'm hoping that will also help visually represent that we are here and strong in the community, and hopefully we can take that in other avenues and other steps to really kind of help people understand our greater history in the city. Thank you, Council Member, and
thank you very much, Tony. Great job. Tony, I'm very happy that you recognized, Christopher Antonelli. He's the one with the Italian checkered tablecloth sport coat. You just need to put a bottle of wine and a slice of pizza on top of it. And our lovely Sean. Thank you very much. You have been wonderful, Sean. Always. Thank you so much. Next, I want to bring up our LAPD commander, former captain from Hollenbeck, as well as Central Station. She is in charge of diversity, equity, as well as inclusion for LAPD. And let me just one note I want to make. It's interesting because when we talk about diversity, and we talk about it theoretically, and we talk about how people talk about diversity and inclusion, it's so theoretical. It's in speeches, and it's especially on social media platforms. It's about Twitter all the time. And when you practice it in real life, that's when it's really meaningful. The LAPD is at least 50%, if not, I believe 60% minority. It's not what we need to be with our women and our LGBTQIA plus community. That's ongoing work that needs to be done. But this is an institution that's actually more diverse than the University of California. This is an institution that's actually more diverse than Disney and Hollywood. This is an institution that is much more diverse than a lot of other corporations who are now getting consultants to talk about diversity. It's an institution, without a doubt, for a long time has been rife with controversy too, as it deals with people of color, African Americans, Latinos, and others, as it deals with our queer community. But it's ongoing, it's evolving, and this is the role that this woman plays right now with this institution. Let's bring up our commander, Ruby Flores. Ruby Flores.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for that introduction, sir. So I'm honored to be here today to have this opportunity to represent the Los Angeles Police Department in this momentous and very important occasion in honoring the life and the legacy and the resilience of Nancy Valverde, and to recognize the important place that the Cooper's Donuts had in the LGBTQ plus community by providing a safe space for Angelenos to be their true selves. We know that the lives of Ms. Valverde and her partner and many friends were not easy due to harassment and threats of harm. Establishments like Cooper's Donuts should have been recognized as being a safe place for our LGBTQ community members. But sadly, rather than working to protect this community, the LAPD of that time was not always kind to our gay, our lesbian, our transgender, our non-conforming Angelenos, our gender non-conforming Angelenos. Ms. Valverde was arrested on multiple occasions for simply wearing what were perceived to be men's clothing. So to the Valverde family, and to Lupe here today, and all those that were impacted and faced by harassment during this time by the Los Angeles Police Department, I deeply apologize on behalf of the men and women of the Los Angeles Police Department. This mistreatment and harassment of our citizens was wrong, and it should have never happened. No one should feel unsafe in their community, and no one should feel safe in a place like Cooper's Donuts that was intended to be a safe haven for our community members. So as it's been stated, this is not the LAPD during that time. This is not the LAPD of the 50s. But thankfully, this story doesn't end there. As Robert Penn Warren has stated, history cannot give us a program for the future, but it can give us a fuller understanding of ourselves and our common humanity so that we can better face our future. It is through that lens that we look back at our past so that we can learn from our mistakes and do better. And it's not enough to say that we were wrong, but we also must commit to do the work to ensure equal treatment and just treatment for everyone. So as the commander of the LAPD's Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Group, we are focused on ensuring that everyone is treated with dignity and respect, and that the department reflects our city's incredible diversity, and that our officers and our civilian workforce always treat everyone fairly and with compassion. As a city, we have come a long way, but we know that we have additional work to do. And it truly means a lot that we have been invited to this space so that we can recognize and offer a sense of atonement for the wrongs of our past. Today, our department reaffirms our commitment to our mission to protect and serve all Angelenos. And we thank those that came before us, including Nancy Valverde and the proprietors of Cooper's Donuts, for being willing to raise their voice and to fight to ensure that we could live our authentic lives and create a better world for those who came after them. Congratulations to everyone today on today's dedication. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I want to bring up Keith Evans, and it sounds like you sound like a country singer, you know, Keith Evans, you know, that name right there. And Keith Evans told me also too that the original, if I'm correct, Cooper Donuts was at that parking lot right over there. It was on the bottom floor, first floor of the building that was physically situated on that parking lot that we see here today. And if you see that little, I don't want to call it a booth, but the grayish, not grayish, the beige little physical building in between the parking lot and this building, that was Cooper Donuts right there. So let's bring up no other than Keith Evans. Keith Evans, come on. Keith Evans.
Good morning, distinguished guests, esteemed city officials, and honored attendees. Today we gather here to commemorate a pivotal moment in our city's history and to honor the courageous individuals who fought for LGBTQI+ rights. It is with great pride and gratitude that we stand before you in this momentous occasion to unveil Cooper Donuts, Nancy Valverde Square, in downtown Los Angeles. As the grandson of Jack Evans, the visionary founder of Cooper Donuts, on behalf of my family, I am deeply humbled to witness the recognition and celebration of this iconic establishment and the remarkable achievements of Nancy Valverde. Cooper Donuts was more than just a donut shop. It was a sanctuary for the LGBTQIA+ community during a time when acceptance and understanding were scarce. In the face of adversity, Cooper Donuts became a symbol of resilience, acceptance, and love. It provided a safe place for gender non-conforming individuals, offering them not only a place of refuge, but also a place of employment opportunities, when other businesses turn them away. This act of defiance against discriminatory laws paved the way for progress, and it's our duty to ensure that their stories are remembered and celebrated. Today we honor Nancy Valverde, a beacon of strength and determination who fearlessly challenged Los Angeles anti-masquerading laws and fought for the rights of gender non-conforming individuals. Nancy's unwavering tenacity and her refusal to be silenced inspired a movement that continues to shape our society. With the installation of this ceremonial signage, we not only pay homage to the history and legacy of Cooper Donuts and Nancy Valverde, but we also make a resounding statement that our city values inclusivity, equality, and recognition of LGBTQI+ contributions to our collective narrative. I extend my deepest gratitude to the City of Los Angeles for recognizing the significance of this monument, for their unwavering support. Let us come together as a community to embrace our shared history and to celebrate the progress we have made and continue to make in the fight for equality. Thank you all for joining us today as we honor the legacy of Cooper Donuts and Nancy Valverde. And may this unveiling ceremony be a symbol of hope, love, and unity for generations to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Keith. And last but not least, our final speaker, someone who's very special. As you all know, Nancy Valverde is too ill, and she couldn't make it today, as much as she'd want to be here today. But we do have her sobrinas here today, but we also have her sister, Lupe, who will be speaking in just a few moments. Lupe Martinez. I learned that, like Tony, Nancy went to barber school as well too, and was wearing pants back in the day, because when you're cutting hair and the hair's all over you, wearing pants is like functionally practically the best thing to do. But also as a woman and as a lesbian woman back in the day who wore pants back in the day, when society eschewed that type of vestuario, if you will, that type of style, it spoke volumes of the courage of this woman. I can't think of someone better than to speak on her behalf than other than her younger sister, Lupe Martinez. Señora Martinez, adelante. Thank you.
Incidentally, I still have her barber shirt. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here to represent Nancy Valverde, and my name is Lupe Martinez. Unfortunately, Nancy is unable to be here to accept this honor due to her long-time battle with cancer and COPD. My sister is undeniably a fierce woman who has always fought for her identity. During her teenage years, Nancy was continually harassed by male officers. Her first occurrence happened when she was walking down the street wearing a pair of trousers with a zipper in front. Nancy was approached by police officers when one of the officers pulled her by the hair and said, "I want to see you wearing a dress." Nancy replied, "I want to see you wearing a dress too, but you won't wear one, will you?" She was then taken to a substation and placed in a small cell with a bench. Another officer approached the cell and said, "Come here." She approached. The officer reached in and grabbed her privates. Unfortunately for Nancy, this would not be the last time she faced this abuse. This did not discourage her from continuing to be her undeniably herself. Her stories demonstrate how Nancy's struggles never prevented her from being true to herself. Instead, it made her resilient and defiant to those who told her, "No, wear a dress, take off those pants." Even with such a traumatic past, she had an excellent sense of humor and ability to captivate her audience with stories about her life. She has given many interviews for documentaries about the struggles and hardships she faced in order to raise awareness for the LGBTQ+ community. I did it. As I previously stated, Nancy is a fighter. Today she is facing another tough battle. She has beat cancer twice. She beat lung cancer and she beat stomach cancer. Now she has a fight with COPD. 4 years ago she was diagnosed. Oh, I already said that. However, months later, I said that too. You have to excuse me, I'm emotional right now. She continues to fight with as much fierce as she did for her identity. My sister is now 91, on oxygen, and still has her faculties, or so she says. Just not her stamina. Nancy is undoubtedly my hero. She is loved by her sisters, her brothers, her nieces, and nephews. On behalf of Nancy and my family, plus myself, we thank you for this honor.
And Lupe, also on behalf of the constituents from City Council District number 14, and all of us here today, present today, you know, Tony, our commander, Keith, and all the supporters here today, we want to give you these flowers. If you could be so kind enough to give these flowers to Nancy, we would deeply appreciate it. Okay, are we ready for the unveiling?
Yeah!
All right, let's say one more time. Are we ready for the unveiling?
Yeah!
All right, let's get it done.
So what we'll do is, since we're in Council District 14, we'll go 14 and we'll work backwards. Alright. Yeah. 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8,
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Thank you, DOT. We appreciate you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Tony. Amazing. We appreciate it. Tony? Come on, you guys can come in. All right. Woo! Ow! Hey. That's a handshake.
Right.
How you doing? Good? Good, good. How about you? How you doing? Good?
I think I was talking
Rip or something like that, I think you remember. So you probably know Mary Cohen. She retired maybe 10 years
I've seen you
ago.
pop up on a few different things. It's good. It should be.
As it should be. Group photo? Okay, group photo.
Wow.
Chris, what campsite? We'll do a group photo, Commander Nancy. All right.
Come on, check it out.
Good.
Look over here.
Anybody else?
Over here. Thank you.
You want to get it?
Let me see if I can get this shot.
Jay wants one more shot.
One more shot.
ABC.
One more for ABC. Can I go to?
Come on.
Can I jump in?
Yes, come on. Come on, Sean.
Thank you. All right, look right here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And right here. All right, so cute. It's really easy.
Sean looks great.
Wendy.
I'm actually off today, so.
Ian, you're going to be the people with the
Teresa, you're gonna take it? Thank you. Michael's not gonna be inspirational.
Michael, you can. Michael, we want you to be in the photo.
We want you to be in the photo, Michael. Come here, Chica.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, that's my 10-foot tall face, yes.
Did you get one? Did you like me?
Great. Perfect.
Okay. Oh!
Yes,
Good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hold on. Stay there.
You can go anywhere. You're
See you later.